K24's NewsCut. My name is Samuel Njoroge, and our sign language interpreter for this bulletin will be Walter Asewe. Now let's kick off the bulletin by taking you to Parliament, where the Senate Public Accounts and Investment Committee now wants Parliament to pronounce itself on Justice Mumbi Ngugi's ruling that state officers charged in court over corruption be barred from accessing office. The committee said the ruling opened a Pandora's box and poses serious implementation challenges, and the Moses Kajwang-led committee now wants both speakers of Parliament to indicate the ramifications of the ruling on senators, MPs and MCAs facing various charges in court. Samburu Governor Moses Lenol Kulal, who was expected to appear before the Public Investments and Accounts Committee, failed to do so on grounds that he was technically out of office. We will keep you updated in as far as that story is concerned. Moving on to the courts is that Sarah Kamotho, wife to missing Dutch tycoon, that is Tob Cohen, is said to be charged with murder at the Milimani Law Courts. Sarah has been in police custody for the past 10 days to help in investigations over the disappearance of her husband. Now let's cross over to Milimani Law Courts, where our reporter Lennox Sengre is on standby to brief us more on that particular story. Right, and we shall be getting to Lennox Sengre, if not in the course, I beg your pardon, of this bulletin, then definitely during our subsequent bulletins right here at K24 TV. Now let's move on, where residents of Landi area in Taita Taveta County have raised concern over an expanding dump site adjacent to the busy Voi Taveta Highway, saying the dump site now poses a public health risk in the area. The residents now want the dump site relocated, and here is Gloria Milimo with that report.
A mountain of trash now causing residents of Landi area in Taita Taveta County sleepless nights. The residents say the dump site that has been active for the past 15 years now poses a threat to public health in the area.
Tunatakana kuishi kwa hewa safi, tunatakana kuishi mazingira safi, lakini mazingira imechafuliwa sana.
Tumepata shida kwa mifugo imekufa, kuku zimekula, takataka zimekufa, watoto wenyewe wanapitia huku wakichukua takataka kama hizi my expired goods, wanakuja wanakuchukua wanaenda wanakula. Sasa hiyo ni taabu sana.
They say the odor emanating from the site has made it unbearable to enjoy fresh air or even enjoy a meal due to houseflies that hover around their homes from the dump site.
Hii kitu imekuwa threat kwa maisha ya wanadamu na kwa maisha ya wanyama pia. Mbali na hapo ni kwamba mainzi hapa hivi, sisi kama mtu anakula, ukitembea kama lunch hour utakuta kwamba labda mtu ajifunike neti. Zile neti ambao watu wanajifunikana gambu usiku, badala ajifunike kwa mbu, hasa inabidi ufunike neti nje ndio uweze kukula, hata kama ni ndani ya nyumba. Kama hakuna neti, basi chakula chote kitakuwa ni inzi tupu.
They're now calling on the county government to relocate the site that is also spilling over onto the highway. Gloria Milimu, K24 NewsCut.
Police officers from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations have launched a manhunt for a woman whom they have described as a serial killer and extortionist. The suspect, identified as Jane Wawera Mugo, and who claims to be a private investigator, is wanted for various criminal offenses, among them robbery with violence, impersonation, abduction, and threatening to kill. Now, a statement issued on Wednesday, the DCI said the suspect had previously been arraigned in court for various offenses, but the cases were withdrawn, with a fresh warrant of arrest now being issued against her this week. She is accused of threatening to kill a man in New Muthaiga in the year 2015. In the same year, she was also accused of impersonating a public servant when she stormed the office of the victim's lawyer and introduced herself as a police officer, searched the house, and created this disturbance. The woman has been ordered to surrender to the nearest police station, even as the police continue in their search for her. Police have since confirmed that she is neither serving or ex-policewoman and has never been a member of the specialized police unit. Now to revisit our second story on our news order this afternoon, where Sarah Kamotho, wife to missing Dutch tycoon, that is Tob Cohen, is set to be charged with murder at the Milimani Law Courts. Sarah has been in police custody for the past 10 days to help in investigations over the disappearance of her husband. Let's now cross over to Milimani Law Courts, where our reporter Lennox Sengre is on standby. He will be giving us more details in as far as this story is concerned. Lennox, good afternoon. What's the latest from your end?
Well, Karaoke, what you've said, that we are expecting Sarah Kamotho to be charged with murder any minute from now. They have said that they will first do a medical assessment. Remember, for a murder person to be charged before court, they should take her first to be assessed medically before bringing her back to court to be charged with murder. We are waiting for a directive to be given by the judge in a few minutes' time, but for now we have her lead lawyer who will be giving us an insight of what we should expect. Thank you, sir, for creating time really to speak to K24 at 1. Will you give us a brief comment of what people should expect from this case?
Get your name first.
I'm Lennox.
Lennox, how are you? First of all, we're very surprised to be here today. We haven't been informed at all that the body of Tob Cohen has been found. So this will be the first case in the history of this country where somebody is charged before a person's body is found. In addition, this case is far from ready for prosecution. The last 2 days, yesterday and the day before, the CID spent the whole time at the home of Sarah and Tobs, doing a forensic examination from fingerprints to DNA, and none of those results are out. So why the hurry? Why the hurry? Was it just to beat the deadline because Tob's sister was going to be here? Are we performing for a foreign government? I think we might be, but let's have the prosecution state their case. They have preferred a charge of murder without the discovery of a dead person. They have not yet given us a copy of the statements, so the challenge is on them. But as it's turning out, this is probably going to be one of those cases that will completely ridicule the prosecution and the investigators. Yeah.
There's Sarah's lead lawyer giving us an insight of what we should expect in a few. Remember, also the family members are also camping here really to listen to this case that has attracted even the international media houses and international communities really to know what really happened to Tob Cohen, a Dutch citizen, today. Remember, this story will be keeping you up to date when we get it in a full swing. Karaoke.
Thank you so much, Lennox Sengre, for that update live from the Milimani Law Courts this afternoon. Expect more from that end during our subsequent bulletins. Now, let's move on to the National Assembly. This afternoon is scheduled to adopt and approve the mediated version of the Division of Revenue Bill to pave way for assent and ultimately release of funds to counties. This is after the Mediation Committee agreed on the 316.5 billion Kenya shillings share allocation to counties barely 3 months into the financial year 2019-2020. Senators on Wednesday approved the bill after subjecting it to a vote, even as some members maintained that the National Assembly has or was hell-bent on undermining devolution. The relevant budget committees are now focused on kick-starting the 2020-2021 budget-making process to avoid a stalemate in the future. While promising that counties may have funds in 2 weeks' time, the National Assembly's Budget and Appropriations Committee Chair, that is Kimani Ichung'wah, cited delays in the budget-making process for the 2019-2020 financial year as the key contributor to the current stalemate. From Parliament, we go to Baringo County, where police in Elder Maravin County, or Elder Maravin of Baringo County, are reported to have destroyed over 40,000 liters of illicit brew following a series of deaths which had forced members of the public to stage demonstrations in protest. The illicit brew operation conducted by security officers in Elder Maravin succeeded in seizing thousands of liters along Kurusal River, which has been labeled as a den for notorious brewers and cause of insecurity in the region. The most recent incident being that of a woman whose eyes are reported to have been gouged out after a drinking spree. The operation, led by Baringo County Commissioner Henry Wafula and County Police Commandant, that is Robinson Ndiwa, saw the destruction of the liquor and brewing equipment.
This operation will go on and we will not relent. There is this river, Kurusalal, which runs across ravine, that is Koibatek sub-county, Mogotio and Marigat, where we have witnessed a lot of distillers going on with this business. We want to warn them that as government, we will not preside over drunkard citizens.
Kila mtu afuate sheria, hapana tisha askari yangu. Na by the way, wacha niwaambie nikimalizia. Ukitisha askari sasa ndio unaharibu wao. Watakuwa kama nyuki, ni kama kuchokora, naonanga nyuki huko Parsa. huko Marigat. Ni kama kuingiza kidole kwa mzinga ya nyuki, utaona cha mtema kuni.
Now, hundreds of families are reported to have fled their homes and camped at police stations in Kitui East and South after armed herders invaded their homes, killing 2 people and injuring scores others.
The displaced residents of Kitui now seeking shelter at police stations in Kitui East and South, concerned that herders have made it a habit every time there was a drought to go in search of pasture and water for their livestock. This has left the people living along Kitui and Tana River borders fearful, wondering if harm will come their way. Several schools have been closed down, with pupils reported to have escaped with their parents in a bid to save their lives.
Tuko na watoto wadogo, tunalala nje, hatuna chakula. Virango zetu zote tumeacha huko nyumbani. Tuko na watoto, chakula iko nyumbani, na chakula yangu huko tunatumia kununua chakula. Na pesa yangu imeenda.
Washikadau wote wala ambao wanaweza saidia watu, sisi zote tuko hapa. Tunahitaji msaada wa dharura.
Area MP Nimrod Bai accused Governor Charity Gilu of giving the herders licenses permitting them to use the land to graze their livestock in efforts to have them coexist.
Familia karibu 400 zote zimehamia hapa na wanahangaika na chakula, wanahangaika na maji, watoto wanahangaika na madawa. Sasa hii kuna watoto kabisa, mtoto amelia kutoka asubuhi, hana dawa, hajaona daktari. Tumeuliza county government kutoka jana, walete maji, walete dawa na daktari, hatujawaona.
The Agri Legislature urged Gilu to assist the residents by providing them with water and doctors and take necessary measures to secure the area and enable them return to their homes. Mombi Okoth, K24 NewsCut.
Now, we promised that we would revisit our top story this hour, where the Senate Public Accounts and Investment Committee now wants Parliament to pronounce itself on Justice Mombi Ngoge's ruling that state officers charged in court over corruption be barred from accessing office. The committee said the ruling opened a Pandora's box and poses serious implementation challenges. The Moses Kajwang-led committee now wants both speakers of Parliament to indicate the ramifications of the ruling on senators, MPs and MCAs facing various charges in court. Samburu Governor Moses Lenol Kulal, who was expected to appear before the Public Accounts and Investments Committee, did not do so on grounds that he was technically out of office.
Institution, not the physical structure. Otherwise, Governor for Samburu would open an office in Archer's Post or in Kapedo and continue to discharge his duties from there, away from Maralal. We in a situation that is not very unique. Kiambu County is in a similar position, where the governor has been barred from accessing office by the competent courts. Even though the situation is not unique, it is unprecedented. This Senate has not come across this situation. And as you know, the ruling by Justice Mumbi that talked about state officers stepping aside once charged is new and fresh. And its implementation still poses various challenges in this republic. This committee and this Senate is bound to respect the rule of law. We would not wish to be accused of contempt of court. If the courts have ordered the governor not to access his office, the governor therefore has no capacity to appear before this committee. We would want to make a decision that will take care of us today and that will take care of the Senate and this republic in future. Our decision for today is to defer the hearing until the matters in court have been settled. We have considered that the consideration of the Senate is not that urgent while EACC is pursuing other charges in court. The charges that have been leveled against the governor are charges that are to do with fiscal prudence or fiscal imprudence, and we believe that the people of Samburu would still be able to get justice through that option of the courts of law. In order to have a decision that then will set a precedent and a decision that would be neat, we have agreed also as a committee that we shall escalate this matter to the leadership of the Senate. And as chairman, I'll be bringing a statement on the floor of the House for Senate to consider these unique situations and to give guidance on the way forward for posterity. The question that we have posed in our minds is that today the governor for Samburu has been barred from accessing office, being a state officer, and despite the provisions of the Integrity Act, I think it is section 62 or so of the Integrity Act, that attempts to shield state officers from stepping aside unless the necessary provisions in the Constitution are exercised. Today we will be saying that Governor for Samburu should not access office, should not access the institution. We would be arguing that Governor for Samburu is technically out of office. What if tomorrow, God forbid, a member of the Senate was to face
Third Way Alliance party leader, that is Ekuru Aukot, this day led the Third Way Alliance party in responding to the progress of the Punguza Mizigo Initiative, a bill that saw a hitch experienced by this piece of legislation in Kirinyaga County Assembly yesterday. So let's listen in to what this Third Way Alliance party had to say.
Update on the bill is that so far we've been able to reach the 21 county assemblies. The reception has been immense, has been great. There is overwhelming support on the bill, both from the members of the public and members of the county assembly, except for the intimidation that we will talk about. Now, as a precursor to the intimidations, to the status of the bill, I want to focus on the philosophy of this Punguza Mizigo Bill 2019, which the liars of this bill, about this bill, have not been able to explain. Now, the bill is proposing to bring resources down to the wards in order to take services to people's very doorsteps. This is the only way we can attain true and meaningful inclusivity. Inclusivity cannot be achieved by accommodating a few individuals whose only fame is to opportunistically use the tribes they come from or how much noise they can make in the political arena. Inclusivity in this country cannot be achieved when you propose to widen the executive to accommodate 3 or 4 individuals.
Now to our weekly feature, Health Unlimited, where a report compiled by the Ministry of Health early this year painted a grim picture of the agony patients and their families go through over non-payment of hospital bills. The report flagged several major hospitals for being complicit in detaining patients and bodies, causing untold suffering to families. On Health Unlimited, Gloria Milimo now looks at the agony of affected families and the cost implications unpaid bills have on the operation of health facilities.
Sai niko frustrated mpaka nimekuwa traumatized. Hata nashindwa niwaachie hii mwili wa kule ama waende wazike juu.
Nabat Wakisa is a frustrated man. His frustrations now become part of his daily routine for over 1 month as he frequents this facility to negotiate for the release of his late wife's body, who died while undergoing treatment at the hospital. The inability to offset 1.3 million shillings medical bill has derailed his desire to give his wife a befitting send-off. The daily consultations have borne no fruits. At his one-roomed rented house in Kawangware, Nairobi County, friends and family are busy making preparations for a burial whose fate remains unknown.
Nimengangana sana nikienda huko nikiwabembeleza. Mpaka nimelipa shilingi 1230. Ofisi yangu ambayo nafanya nayo National Cohesion sio akawaandikia barua kwamba nimecommit payslip yangu kwamba itakuwa ikikatwa shilingi 1500 kulingana na payslip yangu kila mwezi. Alafu nikipata ingine naongezea.
According to Nabat, the hospital is demanding what he cannot afford.
Hata nikiambiwa saa hii mwili wako ndio huu, nitabeba hata kama nikubeba kwa baiskeli, muradi ifike Migori County, twende tuzike.
Nabat's predicament is a reflection of what thousands of Kenyans who are unable to pay their hospital bills have to contend with. But do hospitals have the right to detain patients or bodies? Human rights activists say this kind of action reduces the detained person to a form of collateral for debt.
The court says it's unethical for a doctor or for an institution to detain a patient for non-payment of bills.
Though admitting the existence of mechanisms to resolve the crisis, hospitals managers argue that the huge amount of outstanding bills have affected their operations.
That being the case, you'll have a big question which will come from the practitioners and the institutions themselves. Then who takes the responsibility of paying for the bill? And I think regulations must be put in place where hospital bills can be secured and they can be paid. Kenyans should take health insurance covers seriously. I think instead of crying that my patient is being detained, you should be telling us my insurance company has not paid for the release and my insurance company has not done this.
Gloria Milimo, K24 for Health Unlimited.
Well, and at 24 minutes past the hour, we thank you for choosing K24's NewsCut as your source of information this afternoon. Walter Asewe has been our sign language interpreter, and my name is Samuel Njoroge.